favorite film. It's awful.
Is not only does it narrate on the Vietnam War itself, it also feels like it's in its own weird world where it's like this descent into chaos.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it is based on the book Heart of Darkness, which is a great book.
Yeah, exactly.
But is probably one of the best adaptations of anything, because obviously it's not a straight adaptation because that's set in colonialist Africa. But the things that remain in it, like the guy still gets killed with a spear. Like a spear's thrown at him.
Oh, really? That's cool.
And that's still in the film, and it works because it's, you know, even though it's hundreds of years later, it works for being in the jungle in Cambodia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are some differences in the book. Kurtz is supposed to be completely emaciated and skinny because he's got malaria. Obviously, Marlon Brando turns up on set extremely fat.
Yeah, that was a problem on set they had, wasn't it?
And they literally have to like shoot it with shadows. So you don't see Marlon Brando's double chin. So he's literally just like his face in the darkness. But it gets away with it because Brando does some of the best acting I've ever seen in that.
That as well is like an example of when things can go great on set and films.
Yeah.
When things go wrong, like, because that's some of the best stuff. Like the fact that you don't really see him, it makes him into this cult of personality that is created throughout the film. And what I think the film sets up really well is you really get a sense of like, oh, he could be convinced by him to join this weird cult. He keeps hearing things about soldiers that have gone to assassinate him and have joined up with him instead and joined him, like, as they go into this utter chaos of a film, and as they're going through the film and they're experiencing all these like dreadful things that are happening, and they're all sort of losing their own mind. And I mean, Lance loses his mind completely, pretty much. He's off his rocker, isn't he, by the end of it? And you can buy the fact that maybe when they get there, they can be convinced because they're just not in the right mental state. Like this is, and there's that tension in that. Is like, is he actually going to do it? And it's very rare in films that they build up this cult of personality of the villain or whatever it is in a film, and you get there and it's ever the thing that you imagined in your mind of it being this insane thing. But in Apocalypse Now, it is. It's just as mental as you can imagine it, if not crazier. And you really just go into this weird other world almost. The film almost turns into like a fantasy, not even do you know what I mean? Like a descent into hell. And that's what I love about this film. I love that they mix the genre of having it be almost like a film noir in Vietnam, where it's like this narration is very moody, like he's going through he's talking about, you're hearing his mindset as the film goes on.
But it is also, it's got that genre in it as well, but it is also an adventure movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just a war film,
exactly.
You know, like a fantasy.
No, it is, yeah.
I mean, the bit where it's all chaos, and it's like, who's in charge here? And it's like, aren't you? You know?
Yeah,
and everyone's just
really good.
One of my
favourite
favourite
scenes.
scenes.
That China Lake grenade launcher, and you hear the guy stop screaming or whatever.
That's one of my favourite scenes. And then he goes to him, so he's just shot the Asian, the Vietnamese guy, and he goes, so do you know who's like captain around here? And he goes, yeah. And then just walks off. And like, they've all just lost their minds. They've all gone. Yeah. And what's so good about this film is like, there's everything's subtext. Just take subtext. Everything's told through the filmmaking. There's nothing's on the nose. Like, everything's like, it's just pure. I've always said to people, if aliens ever come down to Earth and they said, show us what humans are capable of.
Sonic movie.
Sonic movie. Yeah. I would show them Apocalypse Now. I think it's the greatest achievement in cinema history. The fact that the film still holds up today. It was made in 1979. It holds up because everything you're seeing is there. Yeah. Everything's there. There's no CGI. There's not even really. There's practical effects, but it's there. Like they're actually exploding stuff up. There's helicopters are there. Yeah,
and when they napalm the whole forest, you know, they have to burn a forest. They set off the explosives and stuff, but we see that they don't add in extra explosions and CGI. I mean, it's like that bit in Tropic Thunder where they try and do it at the beginning.
So this is a 5-star review from Feeding Brett. Review in a nutshell. Filled to the brim with pitiful, reductive, and loathing dialogue, and wrapping its frame with cinematography that feel contradictory to its grand scale. There is a desperation to paint a psychological portrait of its protagonist that never for a moment feel justified. Characters frequently slide in and out, never capable of leaving a mark of significance to their narrative. There is a reason why Coppola and Satorio has earned little to no merit in the medium, and Apocalypse Now is the prime example on why this is so. I share the biggest regret is actually seeing this film in 35mm at my local theatre, as what that did was it blew up every single shortcoming that this film carries to an excruciating point. It's films like these that make me lose faith in cinema.
So this person thinks, if you're going to watch it on your phone. Like, keep the mistakes to the smallest screen.
Even though he was in 1979 and phones weren't even a thing. But yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I think both those reviews said the writing was awful, which I don't understand. Is the writing awful in it?
Not at all.
In my opinion, the writing's incredible.
The dialogue is
the narrations, but also the scene when they give him the mission and they're all eating, the meal.
Yeah, it makes it so commonplace.
And he's about doing it with extreme prejudice.
Yeah,
it's brilliant,
It's brilliant.
You
really get a sense of like where this shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be doing this. So, but are you on board? Sort of thing. Like it creates such a tone. The dialogue is incredible. There's so many great lines in this film. Like for example, there's a line. I'm probably going to paraphrase this, but Willard says like, "All the soldiers around me basically are trying to make this place more like home, but I've been there, I've been back home, and it's not the home that I left," sort of thing. He says, I paraphrase that completely, I've got that completely wrong, but it was something along the lines, and I'm just like, that says so much character, in my opinion. That's great dialogue, because it tells you a lot about him. I mean, you see the start of the movie, like, he's lost it, he doesn't even like it being back in America. Yeah. He has to be out in the jungle. He's become the jungle. Yeah, his wife left. And like that's told through no dialogue. That's brilliant writing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and filmmaking in general. And then
which is funny because Kurtz leaves his wife and kids to go out there, doesn't he? Because he writes that note saying, "Sell the house, sell the kids. Yeah. I'm never coming back." Yeah. But that's almost happened to Willard.
No, exactly.
To Martin Sheen's character.
And that's what's so interesting because you're like That's the connection that you could feel like that could turn them. And I think this was interesting about this guy. He keeps talking about plot and the story of the film. And I think the reason why I love this film is because it is character over plot. The plot isn't too elaborate. It's a guy going on a mission to adventure to kill this guy. A guy going to slay the dragon. It's like this is a story we've seen a million times, but we've never seen it like this. No. And it's all driven by character. It's driven by Willard and the characters that are around, like when Lawrence Fishburne's character, who, by the way, he was supposed to be 17, but he's actually 14 years old in that film, which is crazy. Yeah, he lied about his age to get on. Like when he dies, for example, and that message from his mum's still playing. Oh, yeah. It is horrible. Like, it's horrible. It's like
heartbreak.
It is heartbreaking. And that's because you've seen the character. He is like a kid. He is like playing around. He's dancing, and he's
he should have taken the blue
part
pill.
Of something. Yeah, he should have taken the blue pill, man. But yeah, no, I think in this film you can really pick out the characters. Like I'm saying, you can really recognise like Willard. You got the chef. You got Fishburne. The boat captain himself is a really interesting guy. Yeah. The scene when he gets speared, which I wanted to talk about. And he tries to strangle him because it's his fault. He's like, it's his fault. Your fault. I'm dead. Yeah. That is horrible. Like I've never seen that before and felt like your protagonist is being strangled by a guy because he feels like he was killed because of him. Like,
and he is.
And he's right. Like he said to him, "Oh, it's fine. They're just sticks. Yeah. They're not going to hurt us." And then he gets speared through the heart. And also, he doesn't know where he's going, really, does he? Yeah.
That's one of the annoying things. It's like, tell us where we're going. It's like, just go up the river, mate. It's like, well, we could do that forever, I mean, that thing said as well, the review said bad acting and hammy acting, which is just bizarre to think.
Marlon Brando, one of the greatest actors of all time, given the horror. One of the greatest performances ever.
Well, who is it? Brando, Sheen, Harrison Ford for a little scene.
Harrison Ford, Fishburne.
Duvall,
I mean, exactly.
I guess there is an argument that it is a bit hammy in some of the bits. It's a bit theatrical, but I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it feels genuine. It feels like how that's how people would have spoke during that war. Like,
but again, it is a fantasy as well. It's not a documentary about the Vietnam War.
No, I agree. But that's what's so great about it. It says a lot about the Vietnam War, but also being not even about the Vietnam War.
Did it say something about Martin Sheen's character in that review being quite simple?
Yeah, I think he said flat or one note.
Flat. It's like he is supposed to be like a sort of straight-laced kind of soldier, and we get a hint that I think he says he's already killed 5 or 6 people in secret missions.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So you know what kind of person he is. One of the reasons Coppola cast Martin Sheen is because, like, of his eyes and stuff. He just wanted him to sort of be witnessing everything that's happening, and you can kind of see that with his eyes. So and he is quite we hear his narration, but he doesn't talk that much to his team, except unless he's giving them orders.
No, exactly.
Or something.
He was originally supposed to be Harvey Keitel, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
They cut him out because he didn't feel like he was fit for it, which is interesting because I think that would have been really interesting because Harvey Keitel was incredible.
Yeah, but I don't like I said, I think Martin Sheen plays a much better straight-laced army officer than Harvey Keitel. He's always too mischievous to be.
No, exactly. But I don't think he's black and white.
Good, but he's not good. Well, then he kills those innocent people on the boat.
Yeah,
you know
when he just shoots them and they're like, they look at him like, oh, he's cold-blooded. Like, this guy doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He's not one note at all, this guy. I think it's crazy to say that he's flat or he's not an interesting character. Like, even from the opening, you're like, what is happened to this guy? Yeah. He's like dancing with his dick hanging out.
Yeah. Smashing the mirror.
Smashing the mirror.
That's bad luck.
That's bad luck, mate. And I mean, he got some bad luck, didn't he? During the and it's great that I love that the film starts with him saying, I couldn't wait to get into the jungle, and by the end of the mission, I'd never want to go back there again. He says something like that, and I'm just like, already, as a viewer, I'm in. I want to know what happened.